Well, Nakamas, I think it's time that we finally do another One Piece movie. So, this time, well, last time we talked about One Piece Film Red. This time I thought we'd talk about the next movie on, well, the movie before that. We'll do One Piece Stampede. So, for those of you who don't know, One Piece Stampede is a 2019 anime fantasy action adventure film written by Eiichiro Oda, known for One Piece and Wanted, and it's also directed by Takashi Oisuka, known for Haikyuu, Dragons of Wonder Hatch, and One Piece Episode of the East Blue, Luffy and his four friends Great Adventures Yes, and Precure 5. This movie was produced by Toei Animation, known for Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Slam Dunk, Digimon, and Saint Seiya. It is the 14th film in the One Piece franchise and is based on the manga of the same name by Eiichiro Oda, and also commemorates the anime's 20th anniversary. With Oda being more involved with this project, and not only serving as main writer, but also being set as executive producer as well. One Piece Stampede had its world premiere in the Osaka Station City Cinema in Osaka on August 1st, 2019, and then was released all over Japan and worldwide on August 9th, 2019. It received praise for its animation, storytellings, and fight sequences. Now, there will be major spoilers ahead, so we've got the overall synopsis of One Piece Stampede. Luffy and his friends, Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates visit the island where a festival is being held by pirates from all over the world to participate in a massive treasure hunt. Meanwhile, Buena Festa is making a move behind the scenes where a Smoker and the other Marines are round up pirates, but all behind on the other side of the island. So there will be major spoilers ahead, so if you guys haven't seen this movie yet, definitely give a chance to check it out if you haven't. So without further ado, let's get straight into it! So, the story begins with Blackbeard appearing at the bottom of the 6th level of Impel Down looking for new recruits, meaning that this scene must be taking place somewhere around Marineford at the Paramount War. He basically just turns around and goes, "Zah! Alright, you landlubbers, time to find me some new crew. It's time for you to fight to the death, right here, right now." After all the off-screen bloodshed, Blackbeard then gains some new crewmates and sees a mysterious figure he decides to call Demon Air Douglas Bullet. 2 years later, in the middle of ass-fuck nowhere, another pirate named Buena Festa does the whole wealth, fame, power speech that we hear at the beginning of every single One Piece episode. Well, for the most part, especially if you're in pre-time skip. He also mentions the fact that he's gonna bring back the Pirates Festival. We then cut to the Straw Hat Pirates with Usopp reading an invite that they all received, along with Nami checking out the Eternal Pose for this mysterious island that they're going to, where the Pirates Festival is taking place. We then get a montage of the Straw Hat Pirates doing what the Straw Hats are doing at the beginning of the festival, and we also get a bunch of cameos with different characters that we've seen in previous arcs, mostly because this movie is supposed to be set between Whole Cake Island and Wano. Whilst that's all happening, the Straw Hats are on the Sunny heading towards the main event. We then see Trafalgar Law being chased by Buggy, along with Alvida and Mr. 3. Traffy then shambles his way onto the Sunny, and then we see the main event of the festival where Gold D. Roger left a clue somewhere, with some treasure on the island, which turns out to be a hidden island on top of a mountain of treasure, with an old treasure chest hidden in the center of it that's all being held up by a knock-up stream. The Straw Hats then race with the other biggest pirate crews of the worst generation, along with Foxy, Wobble, and Barto, and a bunch of other cameos, whilst We Are starts blasting in the background. The Straw Hats then land on the island, so Luffy, Zoro, and Frankie all start fighting on the main ground amongst other pirate crews, whereas Nami and Usopp stay back at the Thousand Sunny, so make sure nothing happens to it, for support. But Robin, Sanji, Chopper, Brook, and Traffy all take a mini-submarine to check on what Festa is actually planning. As all the big-name pirates continue fighting, the absolute Giga Chad that is Buggy, the genius jester himself, grabs the old treasure chest and opens it up and ends up with a massive total look of shock. Meanwhile, Traffy's team finds out that Festa is actually planning to send in a buster call to wipe out the entire island with the help of the Navy. After hearing the news, the group then escapes but runs into Captain Smoker, who wants to know what the actual fuck is going on, and they also run into Crocodile, who says that the treasure is something that's really worth heading for because it could turn the whole world upon its side. The knock-up stream that's holding up the island erupts and then causes the island itself to land into the center of the festival grounds. Pirates are scattered all over the place, and everyone is speculating and notices that the Marines have arrived and are about to start a buster call. Luffy then sees that Usopp has been badly beaten by Douglas Bullet, who opens the chest to reveal the fact that it's an eternal pose that leads to Laugh Tale, the final island of the Grand Line, and is also where the One Piece itself is hidden. Conqueror's Haki is thrown back and forth, leaving Bullet, Luffy, and all the other pirates, strongest pirates of the worst generation, still standing. Our Lord and Savior, Buggy himself, gives us a little bit of lore about Bullet, saying how he used to go toe-to-toe against Gold Roger back in the day, and even the Pirate King himself saw that Bullet was a loose cannon and a danger to everyone and everything around him. And also the fact that he used to be part of Roger's crew temporarily. It turns out that Douglas also has a devil fruit called the Claim fruit. He then uses this to turn into a giant mech along with taking Roger's treasure. Usopp shoots a bunch of metallic pellets at the metallic behemoth. Luffy and Usopp get their asses kicked really badly, but it also turns out that Sabo is there and is looking out for Luffy, and he also said that he has some business to deal with Festa. Also Zoro is there facing off against Fujitora, but then gets interrupted by Mihawk, along with some other cameos of other characters that everyone loves. Everyone's scattering around to try and get off the island with the help of the Straw Hat Pirates as well. So, Law, Smokey, Sabo, Hancock, and Luffy all team up to destroy Bullet's mech after he absorbed most of the island, whereas Kizaru is on standby with a buster call. After the group makes an opening, Luffy then gets ready for a giant-sized Gum Gum Kong pistol, while an orchestral version of We Go starts blasting in the background. Luffy destroys the shell he destroys the shell, and the pellets that Usopp launched earlier crushes the mech on the inside. Then Luffy goes all fourth gear and then starts to run the ones with Douglas Bullet and catches him off guard by saying, "If you think you're the strongest, you've clearly forgotten who helped you get this far." Bullet then has a traumatic flashback and has his ass kicked back to the day when he had his ass kicked by Goldie Roger, and was like, "Hey yo, if you ever want to throw hands again, come and find me." Meanwhile, Luffy finally gets the treasure and shows it off to Hancock, very much like how I like to show off my manga collection after the first date. But it turns out that Crocodile and Rob Lucci are there to steal it from Luffy, but our favourite Mugiwara decides to crush the Eternal Pose and claims that he'll forge his own path on his way to become the king of the pirates and to find the One Piece. Festa then gets his ass beaten by Sabo. The Straw Hats then get back to the Thousand Sunny. The Buster Call gets cancelled and Sabo makes a wall of fire separating the Marines from the pirates to help with the help of an illusion copy of Ace. That just tugs at the hardcore fans' heartstrings. I mean, come on, let's be honest, it definitely would have. Anyway, and that is how they pretty much conclude the movie, along with a couple end credit scenes. One being Gold Roger yeeting the Eternal Pose into the ocean and mentioning that he has a son on the way as well. So obviously this was around the time that Gold Roger was before getting captured by the Marines and starting off the Great Pirate Era. And also we get another one of Nami beating the ever-living shit out of Luffy after finding out that he destroyed the direct path to the One Piece.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
To quote Spike Spiegel, "I love a woman that can kick my ass." Anyway, so, now that we've talked about the plot of the movie, I now want to talk about the characters in the movie. Now, there is a lot of characters in this movie, mostly because it's mostly fan service to celebrate the anime's 20th anniversary. So instead, I'm only going to be going over the characters I feel like are worth talking about. So we got the overall Straw Hat Pirate crew. So we got Luffy, voiced by Mayumi Tanaka in the subversion, and by Colleen Clinkenbeard in the dub. We got Zoro, voiced by Kazuya Nakai in the subversion, and by Christopher Sabat in the dub. Nami, voiced by Akemi Okamura in the subversion, and by Lucy Christian in the dub. Usopp, voiced by Keipi Yamaguchi in the subversion, and by Sunny Street in the dub. Sanji, voiced by Hirokai in Hirata in the dub, not dub, in the subversion, and voiced by Eric Vale in the dub version. Then we got Chopper, voiced by Ikue Otani in the sub version, and by Brina Polsina in the dub. Then we got Frankie, voiced by Kazuki Yao in the sub version, which is actually his last movie voicing the character Frankie. Well, his second to last movie with him. His final movie actually was obviously One Piece Red, but obviously his final role voicing Frankie was just before the One Piece anime went on a 6-month break, in the middle of the Egghead Island arc. Oh, we got Robin, voiced by Yuriko Yamaguchi in the sub version, and by Stephanie Young in the dub. And we also got Brooke, voiced by Cho in the sub version, and by Ian Sinclair in the dub. What is there to say about our favourite pirate crew that no one has ever said before? We love seeing the Straw Hat Pirates, especially with how far the franchise has actually come in the last 28 years since the manga's first release and publication. We always enjoy seeing them together no matter what's happening, and we're always happy to see them always bouncing off each other, no matter if it's the sub version or the dub version. We just enjoy having them, just having a good old time. Enjoying their absolute baller of a fucking chosen family. Then we got Trafalgar Law, voiced by Hiroshi Kamiya in the sub version, and by Matthew Mercer in the dub. Our boy is still getting... Yeah, our boy still struggles to formulate any sort of plan, especially when Luffy is involved. He's just taking hard L after hard L. But it is nice to see this dude come back every now and then. But considering the fact this is supposed to be before Wano, and I know obviously Law does come back during the Wano arc regardless, but you know, it's great to fucking see him every now and then. And I know I did give a brief opinion on him in my One Piece Red review, but yeah, it's just great. I love Trafalgar Law. He is one of the best side characters in this on the whole series. Then we got Buggy, voiced by Shigeru Chiba in the sub version, and by Mike McFarland in the dub. Our genius jester just cannot be stopped. We know that the world is just that much better with the best clown taking the wheel, because we all know when Luffy becomes king of the pirates, that at that point is when we know that Buggy himself is going to become the motherfucking pirate god. Then we got White Chase Smoker, voiced by Mahito Oba in the sub version, and by Greg Dulce in dub. I don't mind seeing more of Smokey, considering the fact that after his introduction in Loketown, we don't really see that much of him often in the story, apart from the Punk Hazard arc. This is only going from my memory, so if anyone wants to correct me, feel free to, not including filler episodes and stuff like that. But I do wish we'd get to see more of him in future projects of One Piece, like outside of games and specials and things like that. Then we got Sabo, voiced by Toru Funuya in the sub version, and by Johnny Young Bosch in the dub. Since we never really had Ace properly appear in the movies, as far as I'm aware, as a One Piece fan myself, but I can honestly say I don't mind having to settle for Sabo, and Johnny Young Bosch does a really fantastic job, as he usually does with every character he's voiced in the past, along with like Nero from the Devil May Cry games, or Dante in the Devil May Cry Netflix series, or even Jonathan Joestar and other characters that Bosch has done, or even being the replacement voice for Broly in Dragon Ball. Then we got Boa Hancock, voiced by Kotono Mutsushi in the sub version, and by Linda McKay in the dub. Again, just like with Sabo, we don't really see too much of her from her own arc, but it is good to show her appearing only for Luffy's sake. And yes, she does fall into the typical like princess falls for main character trope in a shonen series. But we just love to see a woman dedicated to someone, at least, for a decent enough love story.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Then we got our two main villains. So I'm going to start off with Buena Festa, voiced by Yusuke Santamaria in the sub version, and by Mike Wingert in the dub. This man just wanted to overthrow Gold D. Rogers' legacy to start off his own new pirate era, to make it a never-ending festival of chaos, war, and bloodshed. But his plan was to kill off all the big-name pirates and marines at the same time, so you could actually only class him as the actual true main bad guy in the movie. I don't mind Festa as a character. I mean, the design's okay, but his dub voice I'd say definitely suits better than the sub version. Then we got Douglas Bullet, voiced by Sumoru Isobe in the sub version, and by Daman Mills in the dub version. I might be pronouncing his name wrong, but I don't care. This huge hulking bastard has a severe case of Goku syndrome, and by that I mean all he wants to do is just to find a worthy opponent that he can best in combat, just to show that he believes that raw strength is the key to becoming the next Pirate King. But obviously he clearly hasn't met a rubbery autistic crackhead before, so so we now have my overall verdict of One Piece Stampede. Animation, crisp. Music slaps harder than Sanji at a wedding buffet. The whole movie is just a 90-minute AMV with a 5.53 billion yen budget. You blink and you'll miss dozens of cameos, explosions, and Luffy screaming someone's name like it's a fucking Pokemon attack. Look, One Piece Stampede isn't Shakespeare, it's not even Marineford, but it is a wild, loud, and gloriously fanboy-fueled roller coaster. If you love One Piece, then you'll definitely love this. If you're new to One Piece, then what the fuck are you doing here? Go watch the first 877 episodes and then come back. We'll wait for you to experience true peak. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you guys like and subscribe. And make sure you hit the notifications bell so you guys see me on my during upload. Don't forget to go in the description down below where you guys can find my Instagram, Twitter page, Facebook page, TikTok, all that lovely jazz, and Twitch. If you miss my Twitch streams, do not worry because I upload them exactly the next day anyway, just in case you guys miss anything here and there. And also, you guys want me to cover more One Piece videos? Please make sure you comment down below and I'll try and see what I can do. And make sure you guys tell us, what Straw Hat would you want as a roommate, or to fuck? And if you can't just pick, Brooke just because it'll save you on food bills. However, this has been Bloody Jack reminding you that friendship is the true treasure, unless you're buggy, and then it's really clout. And the only thing I have left to say is, Shikoza! Ore wa naru!